Internalizing externalities through the reputation system in evolutionary capitalism, capital signals, not restitution. In traditional economic frameworks, externalities are viewed as market failures. Libertarians handwave them away or outsource them to tort courts and restitution schemes that fail to scale, while statists resort to centralized regulations that ossify and misfire. Evolutionary capitalism rejects both errors. Instead, it implements a transparent, reputation-based monetary system that internalizes externalities dynamically. A decrease in reputation directly signals the destruction of capital, not moral guilt, not subjective harm, and avoids restitution, which incentivizes fraud, victimhood, and moral hazard. This essay explains how evolutionary capitalism treats externalities as capital misallocations rather than legal violations, and how the system corrects them through decentralized information and evolutionary pressures. 1. Externalities as evolutionary failures, not legal problems. Conventional models treat externalities as unpriced side effects of market actions. Evolutionary capitalism reframes them as evolutionary misallocations of capital, failures to increase total productivity in the system. Whether pollution, fraud, or a careless algorithm, all negative externalities signal a loss of productive potential. But instead of assigning blame and demanding restitution, the system simply adjusts reputation downward, reducing the actor's future influence and access to capital. The penalty is informational and forward-looking, not retributive. Restitution implies that harm can be undone by a payment, and worse, it encourages actors to game the system by engineering harm or overclaiming damage. Evolutionary capitalism rejects this. Instead, it integrates externalities into the pricing mechanism itself via reputational capital. 2. Reputation as a capital signal, not a moral judgment. In this system, reputation is synonymous with productive capital. It is accumulated by creating measurable evolutionary value and spent when making decisions, acquiring property, or influencing others. A drop in reputation is not a punishment, it is a signal to the network that the actor is currently misallocating resources or causing more damage than benefit. By avoiding moralistic concepts like restitution or guilt, the system stays grounded in productivity. Just as prices convey information about scarcity and demand, reputation conveys information about systemic value creation and destruction. If your action harms others' productive potential, your influence shrinks, not because you violated a right, but because you've proven yourself a bad investor of evolutionary capital. 3. No restitution, why moral hazard must be eliminated. Restitution leads to perverse incentives. If a thief can return a good and pay a fine, theft becomes a gamble. If a polluter cannot settle the damages with cash, pollution becomes an auction. If a victim gets compensated, being a victim becomes a business model. In evolutionary capitalism, there is no undo button. Damage to the system is permanently recorded in reputation scores, not repaid with arbitrary sums. The actor who caused the harm has already destroyed capital, their ability to act in the system must shrink accordingly. The victim does not get paid, they earn influence by being more productive, and if they document the harm accurately, they can gain reputation as an auditor or information provider. This removes the incentive to act like a victim. It forces everyone to act as producers, not plaintiffs. 4. Distributed attribution and forward-looking scoring. The system doesn't need a centralized court to assess harm. Because all actions are public, externalities can be attributed by decentralized scoring systems. If a factory poisons a river, reputation scores fall based on distributed attribution. Scientists, affected citizens, and auditors all participate in modeling the evolutionary loss. However, the scoring systems that most accurately reflect total productivity gains and losses become dominant. Competition between scoring systems ensures accuracy, and scores that are distorted or captured become less influential as their predictions fail. Importantly, all scoring is Bayesian and forward-looking. If the system erroneously punishes a decision that turns out productive, the actor's reputation may rebound, or the scoring system itself loses reputation. Reputation is not static, it evolves to reflect long-term contribution to evolutionary success. 5. Positive externalities are also priced in. Externalities aren't always bad. Innovations that raise the productivity of others, from open-source software to cleaner processes, generate positive externalities. In evolutionary capitalism, these are automatically priced into reputation, not through gratitude or moral reward, but by tracking how others' scores rise as a result of your actions. If a public camera network reduces crime, and that crime reduction increases others' productivity, the initiator's reputation grows in proportion to those gains. No need for payment, taxes, or government licensing. Evolution pays you in influence. 6. Externalities as bidirectional effects on capital. Every action in this system creates a reputational ripple that can be either productive or destructive. But these ripples are causally distributed. A traffic jam caused by one actor affects many, but each affected party has their own level of influence on the outcome. Those with high reputation contribute more signal to the evaluation. In turn, the system allocates future decision-making power to those with better long-term judgment. If you make good predictions about harms or mitigate externalities before others recognize them, you profit. If you cause destruction or waste, even if legal, you lose capital. This aligns incentives not just to respond to externalities, but to anticipate and prevent them. 7. Property is capital, and capital is conditional. Traditional rights-based property systems don't adjust for externalities unless someone sues. But in evolutionary capitalism, property is capital, and capital must always prove its productivity. If your use of property destroys more capital than it creates, your reputation suffers. If someone else can outbid you because they'll use it more productively, it will be transferred to them. This makes all ownership conditional on ongoing net productivity, not historical acquisition or Lockean mythology. Externalities are no longer external, they are integrated into ownership decisions automatically. 8. Conclusion, a system that evolves toward efficiency. Evolutionary capitalism transforms externalities from unsolvable political problems into natural signals of capital misallocation. It avoids moral hazard by rejecting restitution, rewards productive correction through reputation gains, and dynamically reallocates power to those who maximize total productivity. A decrease in reputation is not just a social consequence, it is the market's signal that you are destroying capital. In this system, there are no victims to compensate and no courts to argue before. There is only evolution, and evolution does not forgive failure. It remembers, updates, and reallocates accordingly.